Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Today's question was suggested by a viewer. Thanks to regular Wizard YT for this one. Amy controls an Urza Saga and a Power Conduit. Is it possible for her to use Power Conduit to extend the life of her Urza Saga beyond the normal 3 turns? If it is, would it also be possible for her to search for more than one artifact with Urza Saga? Alright, so in order to answer this question, we're going to need to know a couple of facts about how sagas work. So if we take a look at this rule here, we can see that the thing that makes you sacrifice the saga would be if it has too many lore counters on it. That is great news for us because the Power Conduit has the ability to remove lore counters from the Urza Saga. As long as we remove a lore counter from the Urza Saga every turn, we could keep that Urza Saga around indefinitely. So that's the answer to the first part of our question. Now, that's already a pretty good deal, but let's see if we can extract even a little bit more value out of this situation, shall we? If we bring that rule back up that makes you sacrifice the sagas, you can see something really interesting buried in all that rule's legalese. The thing that makes you sacrifice the saga doesn't actually happen until after the chapter ability has resolved or otherwise left the stack. And so what that means is if you were to respond to the chapter 3 ability of Urza Saga with the Power Conduit to remove a counter from the Urza Saga, well, that means that by the time the chapter 3 ability has resolved, then there isn't going to be too many lore counters on the Urza Saga anymore. So that means you will not have to sacrifice it. Even better than that, you will still get the ability that lets you search for an artifact. Once that triggered ability gets put on the stack, you're laughing. The game doesn't care how many counters the saga has on it at that point. So that means that after the triggered ability goes onto the stack, it's going to continue to resolve whether the Urza Saga has 3 counters on it or only 2. That means that not only would you get an eternal Urza Saga, but you would also get to search for an artifact every single turn. Now that is some awesome value. Now, there's one more thing that I wanted to touch on related to this question. I can already hear some of you probably thinking, now that is really interesting. I wonder if it would be possible if you could get an artifact with the Urza Saga that would help you prolong its life. And so obviously we aren't going to be able to do this trick with a Power Conduit because that costs 2 and you wouldn't be able to tutor for that one with Urza Saga. But maybe we could do it with like a Hex Parasite. So what do you think? Would it be possible for you to get a Hex Parasite with the Urza Saga Chapter 3 ability and then use its ability to remove some counters from the Urza Saga in time for you to save it? And unfortunately, this is where the fun police are going to step in and break things up. So it turns out that the thing that makes you sacrifice the saga if it has too many counters on it would be a state-based action. Now, state-based actions get performed before a player would get priority to cast spells or activate abilities. So you would be able to use the Urza Saga Chapter 3 ability to get the Hex Parasite just fine. But once it's on the battlefield, the next thing the game is going to do is perform state-based actions, and that happens before either player gets an opportunity to cast spells or activate abilities. So before you would have even a chance to activate the Hex Parasite's ability, then the game would see that Urza Saga has 3 lore counters on it and it doesn't have any chapter abilities anymore, so it's going straight to your graveyard. And that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again next time for another daily ruling, but until then, I hope you have a great day.